The late autumn leaves fluttered like fire across the windshield, golden and red, hiding the chill in the air. Sarah, bundled in her fleece blanket, stared out the window, silently soaking in the color, though her body hadn't moved below the waist in nearly 3 years. A car accident had stolen her mobility, but not her spirit. Her husband, Greg, tapped the steering wheel in frustration. "I just need a break," he muttered, pulling the car off onto an old Forest Service road. Sarah looked at him. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just need some fresh air," he replied, too quickly. The car stopped. Without a word, Greg got out, walked around, and opened her door. She smiled gently, thinking he was going to help her feel the breeze. But then he did something strange. He unbuckled her, lifted her gently from the seat, and placed her wheelchair beside her on the damp forest floor. "Greg," her voice trembled. "What are you doing?" He didn't answer. He just looked at her, almost guiltily, then whispered, "I can't do this anymore." And then he walked back to the car, got in, and drove away. Silence fell over the woods. Birds chirped like nothing had happened. The wind blew through the trees, indifferent to the tears starting to form in Sarah's eyes. She wasn't angry. She was heartbroken and terrified. Minutes passed, or was it hours? Just when the sun began to dip and shadows crept closer, a crackling sound came from the trees. Sarah stiffened. It could be an animal, or worse. But it wasn't. It was a woman. She emerged slowly, leaning heavily on a carved cane. Her hair was silver, braided neatly down her back, and her eyes, bright, piercing, and almost mischievous, settled on Sarah with a strange calm. "Well," the woman said, "you're not exactly where most people have picnics." Sarah almost laughed, but instead whispered, "I was left." The old woman nodded. "Men leave. Some because they're cowards. Some because they're broken. Doesn't mean you're the one who's ruined. I can't walk. Neither could my son, for a time," the woman said softly. "But he learned to fly in different ways." She didn't ask questions. She didn't press. She simply reached into her woven satchel and pulled out a thermos. "Warm tea," she offered. And so they sat, two women, strangers in the woods, sipping tea as the daylight faded. The woman introduced herself only as Maud. She was sharp, funny, and full of old stories that Sarah couldn't tell were true or not, but they distracted her from the panic building inside. And then, just as night fully fell, Maud stood. "Come on," she said. "I can't." "You can. I've seen that look in your eye. You're stronger than you think." With surprising strength for her age, Maud pushed Sarah's wheelchair through narrow trails and winding paths until the trees opened to reveal a tiny wooden cabin with smoke curling from its chimney. Inside, it was warm, cozy, a world apart from the cruel forest floor. Maud fed her, bathed her, and as days passed, Sarah felt a strange sense of healing, not of the body, but of something deeper. Maud never asked about Greg, never pitied her. Instead, she taught Sarah how to paint, using brushes strapped to her hand. She showed her how to balance in the chair alone, how to cook, how to live, even if differently than before. One night, while they watched the fire, Sarah asked, "Why did you help me?" Maud shrugged. "Someone once found me when I was lost. Doesn't matter who, just matters I remember." That winter, Sarah grew stronger, in spirit and in skill. By spring, she had started a small online business selling her artwork. One of her landscape pieces, named Rebirth in Autumn, went viral, especially after she shared the story behind it. A local news crew tracked her down. When asked how she survived, she simply said, "A stranger reminded me that being abandoned isn't the end. Sometimes, it's the start of being found." The story spread. Greg, watching from afar, tried to reach out, but Sarah didn't respond. Not out of anger, but because she had moved on. She'd found her strength not through him, but in the woods, beside a strange, wise woman with a cane and a heart full of kindness.